Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 Hunter and the Beast Early Access multiplayer. Today we're back with the Empire, going to be taking on Gojira's Greenskins. So let's get to it. I've got a mobile artillery division, which includes the Black Lion Regiment of Renown. Very quickly, I'm actually going to pause as I go over the armies because this battle is about to get real wild real quick. Just to go over things here, we've got the War Wagon here, which it looks like just took a friendly fire shot from the steam tank, which is the other part of this mobile artillery division here. Boris Todbringer is going to be the commander. We've got Empire Knights and Pistoliers out to the flank here. Only a handful of state troops, just 4 state troop spearmen spread across the back line. And we're just mostly going super mobile. A couple more Pistoliers and more Empire Knights over on the far side. We've also got a Witch Hunter, a healer, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, for Gojira's Greenskins, he's got Mangy Marauders, Death's Creepers, Wolf Riders, Spider Riders, let's see here, Biggins and Black Orcs through the center, with Wurzag leading the way, as well as a Night Goblin Shaman. He's got some Orc Boar Boys, Spider Riders, and the same on the opposite flank. So, this little contingent of Greenskins Light Cav here is going to be the target of the day, and you can see the Hellblaster opening up in the distance. We've got the Pistoliers providing some fire, and here come the Empire Knights with their awesome new color scheme, getting a beautiful side charge in here, just absolutely wrecking these Greenskins Light Cav, and right off the bat, this is going to be a great situation for me. Nice early pick, but we do still have our work cut out for us quite a bit. This is a heavy line of Greenskin infantry and some additional light cavalry as well. And of course, I do have a bit of a numbers problem here. You can see I've only got 637 unit models on the table compared to Gojira's 900. So we're going to have to be a bit careful and pick and choose our engagements here. But Empire Knights getting a bit over aggressive here. We're going to pull them back before we take too much friendly fire from that hell on wheels there. Witch Hunter also doing some skirmishing here. His armor-piercing missile attack can do some pretty decent damage, and of course also does magic damage, so good for shooting at Savage Orcs also. But he can kind of pick off some units here and there as well, so just some nice combined arms skirmishing at this point. Over here, these Spider Riders are going to get caught up by Empire Knights. And again, we need to win mobility, so anytime I can catch these Greenskins Light Cav in an unfavorable situation, I need to take advantage of it as much as possible. Greenskins infantry is having a tough time though. They're advancing up across the field here, trying to find some targets to get in contact with. Meanwhile, we've got some Pistoliers, again, leading some light cavalry for the Greenskins on a bit of a wild goose chase here. We're going to try and fall back to some spear support, maybe get these Empire Knights going again, and here we go. Empire Knights getting a charge in the side here, interrupting these 2 units, and yeah, it looks like the Spearmen going to sit this one out, but the Pistoliers are providing some nice Overwatch fire there. Meanwhile, over here, these Boar Boys got caught by Pistoliers and Empire Knights, and because Boar Boys have such terrible stats, the Pistoliers and Empire Knights were able to easily beat them. But is this bait? Looks like it could be bait. Oh no. Just wrecks a whole bunch of cav there. 2 units of Pistoliers and Empire Knights just pretty much gone. That being said, Steam Tank still perfectly healthy here, just been sitting back, using its shots here. Boris just kind of sitting back, cackling as well. We're going to start to pull back the Hellblaster and just get a bit of a kite game going a little bit here. Who knew you could artillery kite? But anyway, over here we've got a little bit of a pitched engagement still. These Empire Knights did get a regrowth. They are pretty well surrounded at this point. They do have some supporting spears in here as well, but Orc Boar Boys, Spider Riders, these Biggins are going to come in now as well. These Empire Knights are not in the best situation, but I do need them to at least hold these units up. This is useful if these units just stay here and don't attack anywhere else. So I'm going to dump some healing into those Empire Knights to help them at least hold off for some time. At this point, the enemies have reached the steam tank, which is fine with me. It can go ahead and just plow some of them over in melee. The priority really is to keep the Hellblaster out of combat as much as possible, but we are having to throw in some spearmen here. Boris just took a nice little magic missile shot to the face there, and things are looking a little chaotic. These Pistoliers getting caught up by Greenskins Light Cav without support is going to be a rough situation for sure. And over here you can see these Empire Knights still holding out despite being completely surrounded. The Spearmen are also completely surrounded as well, so yeah, a little bit of a pickle there, but we should be able to set up and still do okay. Pistoliers riding away, and yeah, you see how it still completes the shooting animation even when it's turned? Yeah, kind of like the Luminarch still does. It can be a little bit wonky sometimes, but it does make it a little bit easier to use. That being said, things are pretty pitched at this point. We've got this steam tank forcing a nice little blob here. A lot of the Empire troops not feeling too hot. We've still got a few reserve spearmen over on the far side. But Boris has been trying to duel Wurzag, but Wurzag with his self-buffing has been definitely getting the better of Boris here. So Boris is going to try and pull back to the steam tank to get things going. That also procs a rear charge penalty for these Savage Orcs, and they're going to get out of dodge. Meanwhile, the Hellblaster almost out of ammo, getting a little bit low here, but they have managed to rack up a lot of kills so far, especially against high-value units like these Black Orcs here. Oh man, just getting shredded there by that Hellblaster. So pretty good stuff so far. Unfortunately, though, Pistoliers are starting to run out of steam in terms of their HP. Boris actually gets routed off here, which is a really bad situation for me. I'm going to bring in this last reserve spear to see if we can't bail him out, and likewise these Empire Knights and Spearmen working in tandem to finish off the Greenskins cav here. But thankfully, I do still have the steam tank relatively healthy, and although Boris is running away, Wurzag is suddenly like, maybe I don't want to get chased around by a steam tank. Thankfully for me, the steam tank is able to catch him and do some good damage. Of course, Wurzag, not immune to psychology, has relatively shaky leadership, so he is going to go ahead and pull away smartly from that engagement there. Meanwhile, over here, these chariots here, the Hellblaster, are getting caught up by some Spider Riders and more, which is not the best. Likewise, my healer is a little bit caught up, as well as the Witch Hunter. But again, I just need to break up this advantage as much as possible. If Gojira was able to get all of his infantry in here and get like a nice good surround, he could beat up these spears pretty quick. He could probably get on the Hellblaster here, and the steam tank would be in trouble as well. But thankfully for me, Boris has come back from rout. He's regenerated some of his HP, and he's going to be able to come back in here and continue to lead his troops. The steam tank and the Hellblaster at this point. Oh man, this is an awesome cinematic shot right here with the two of them just side by side popping off shots. Steam tank going to roll forward to use its melee capability and terror to terrify away some of these Greenskins infantry here, just to keep things protected. And this Hellblaster's got one more volley left, and at that point it's going to be a kind of subpar chariot. So we'll see. But Wurzag comes in one more time to try and deck Boris. Boris is looking pretty close to his healing cap, but the Hellblaster volley actually very accurately comes in here, gets a couple of hits on Wurzag and some of these supporting troops. And then here comes the steam tank as well to bail out Boris once again and to get Wurzag away. So at this point, if we kind of take an overarching look here, you can see Spearman still holding out, but mostly at this point it's just the steam tank and the heroic units for me. And the Witch Hunter did come back from rout. He should be able to finish off this Night Goblin Shaman. Maybe not. Maybe the Shaman will get away. And it looks like actually the Wolf Rider Archer Fire did finish him off in terms of his leadership. So not the best, but now, like I said, we're going to be using this thing as a chariot. The War Wagons, you guys may have seen it in some replays already. I'm not sure 100% which replays, in what order everything is going to be coming out in, but one of the War Wagons actually does go down there. But in this kind of a late game situation, these War Wagons can do okay as chariots against light units. They're really, really terrible against armor, but the main gun of the steam tank has been going after Wurzag as much as possible, and it looks like it's just about finished him off there. He's got very, very low HP, but let's see. Ooh, a hit right off his back brings him down to 500, and that is going to be enough to rout him away. For me, I've got the carts. Where are the carts? I really want to watch them do some chariot stuff. So yeah, you can see they do have the mass to run over like even big uns here relatively effectively. And again, the damage that they do is reasonably decent against units which have relatively low armor, but now that they're stocked up, let's see, can they accelerate out of these big uns? It does look like they're able to relatively easily. I mean, granted, that wasn't that good of a surround there, but still. 145 kills at the end of the day, just absolutely massive value. Steam tank's up to 105 as well, so pretty good stuff there. But yeah, the leadership for the Greenskins not holding up. You can see at this point the balance of power very far out of favor. Gojira is going to sit back and try and use his magic missiles here from this Night Goblin Shaman to finish off the steam tank, but I mean, I've still got plenty of ammo left on the steam tank. I can just sit and shoot here for several minutes and continue to deal damage. The Witch Hunter gets blasted, though, by that nasty little goblin twice and decides to run away. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to use up the rest of our ammo and charge in just a moment. But yeah, I definitely like this mobile artillery kind of squad, using the steam tank and the war wagon, the Hellblaster war wagon together, because they can sort of support each other in a way. They're both, you know, long-range chariots that also are, artillery pieces. So yeah, they kind of work well together, especially if you have like Pistoliers and Empire Knights supporting. If you're able to win mobility decisively enough, then you can just rain terror, or rain death, I should say, at a distance, and then close in for terror with the steam tank. Worked out pretty well in this particular battle, and yeah, I haven't tried this specific combination of both the Hellblaster and a steam tank in any other matchups, but I definitely want to. I mean, just alone, the steam tank is pretty good already in some matchups, and yeah, I can foresee this war wagon doing okay as well. Like, just as an example, you can see as soon as we charge in here, everything is just going to rout. So, well played to Gojira. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. Definitely a fun one, but let's go ahead and have a look at the final breakdown. Yeah, 146 kills even for both mobile artillery pieces. Obviously, we can't see any chevron action for the Black Line since it's a Regiment of Renown, but 146 kills, 2 XP chevrons on the steam tank. Just absolutely massive value, and you can see, I mean, some decent kills on the Empire Knights and the Pistoliers. 61 on the Witch Hunter as well is not too bad, but most of the heavy lifting was done by these 2 mobile artillery pieces. Just keeping them safe, that was the main role of all these cav. We were able to do that effectively enough to get the work in, and it ended up working out pretty well here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. I've got one more chariot replay to show you, so let's get to it. Alrighty guys, so we're going to jump into one more game here. I decided after the fact to lump these two together, so the transition might be a little bit weird. Hopefully I didn't ham-fist edit that too bad. But anyway, we're going to be taking a look at a second game here with the Empire focusing on war wagons. This time I brought 3 of the basic war wagons as we're up against the Dwarves. Now, Dwarves for a long time have been the hardest matchup for the Empire in my view. Some of the new tools certainly will help here, and we'll go over that in just a moment, but my thinking with these guys is, I mean, chariots are good against the Dwarves. These guys also do armor-piercing missiles, right? So I wanted to try it out and see how well it would work. For the rest of the army, we've got 3 great cannons for counter-artillery fire. For additional counter-artillery fire, we've got Marcus himself. Obviously, the Dwarves are going to have a hard time catching Marcus, even though he is relatively slow, so he's pretty safe. As long as you keep him from getting completely missile sniped, which I don't think that great cannons are accurate enough to necessarily reliably snipe him. But he's going to use his missiles to try and snipe out these artillery pieces as well. Unfortunately, didn't quite get that one, but the other tool I've got in the arsenal is the Death Jacks. Now, Death Jacks have stock and snipe, so they can remain hidden while firing. Unfortunately, they do have very short range, but with Vanguard, I was able to Vanguard deploy them here in the back, get up in the back and start shooting some of these Slayers. I'd prefer to shoot the artillery crew, but the Slayers are a decent high-value target to be shooting as well. So we're going to start to poke away and do a little damage there. But yeah, we've also got the Hell on Wheels just for some additional armor-piercing anti-infantry. And yeah, you can see how I'm kind of dodging the shots there with Marcus Wolfhart of both the organ guns and the cannons. So the idea here, oh, I almost forgot, the last piece of counter-artillery fire is actually not counter-artillery fire at all, but Spirit Leech. We've got a Deathcaster here. It's going to overcast Spirit Leech to give it extra range, and watch what happens. Spirit Leech actually, when the artillery crew is mounted to the guns, will prioritize the guns themselves first. So just some tips for you guys. That's one way of dealing with artillery. Now, why do I have all these counter-artillery tools? Well, it's because that's the primary reason this matchup is so one-sided in the Dwarves' favor. I figured that if I could win the artillery engagement decisively enough, that the swordsmen and the war wagons together would then be able to win the infantry engagement. Of course, with supporting fire from the Hell on Wheels and the great cannons as well. So we'll see. We'll see. So far, we have managed to mostly neutralize one unit. This unit's down to only 1 artillery piece, and there goes the last one. Unfortunately, a little bit mistimed on that Spirit Leech. Not going to be quite effective, but we're going to switch over to this other target now, which immediately gets 1 gun destroyed, and the other ones will be continuing to hold out. So, yeah, so far so good on the counter-artillery fire. We've also managed to waste a whole bunch of ammo on a unit of miners, and Italian finally switched his cannons, realizing that they are on a bit of a timer to start shooting at this black line here, which has done a ton of damage. Hasn't finished off any unit models yet, but a bit of mismicro by me as well, not microing these chariots super well. They're also in range of the Bugman's Rangers, which is not the greatest. Empire crossbows did get buffed, as did all crossbows in the game, except for the Dark Elf crossbows, obviously. But I guess so. Just the Empire and Dwarfs then. But notice here, Dwarfs now have 6 AP per shot on their crossbows, a slightly longer reload time than before, but much better AP values, which is always nice. So you don't necessarily have to bring Thunderers all the time. I mean, not granted, I would bring Rangers a lot anyway, but you can see the War Wagons here. They just don't do a whole lot of impact damage to the Dwarves. Even charging into the back, the Dwarves just have a little bit too much armor. Based on some testing I've done, right around like 60 to 70 armor is really where the damage starts to drop off significantly. If a unit is above that, then they're going to take very little damage from the charges from the War Wagons. I mean, granted, the armor-piercing missile damage is okay, but it's really not enough DPS to be impactful here, and you can see this unit is routed off with only 6 kills to its name. They're really not getting too many kills right now, which is a little bit rough. Likewise, this black line here did get one of its unit models sniped. That being said, the artillery duel did go in my favor. The great cannons both completely shut down, and the organ gun with only one piece remaining that is shooting directly into a tree. So that's great. We still got all my great cannons online as well with all 3 artillery pieces, so they're able to provide some nice overwatch fire. Not necessarily meant against anti-infantry, but they can definitely nuke, with all 3 of them firing at once. And from a side angle as well, they can potentially get some better shots. But losing the War Wagons was definitely pretty tough. That is quite a bit of value that I'm not going to get. And obviously the Swordsmen are going to lose to Dwarf Warriors here, which is not the best. So we'll see. Marcus going to try and snipe at the Thane here maybe, but it looks like... Oh, doesn't quite finish him off. Get a nice hit right in the face, but the Thane still has about 500 HP left. And unfortunately, some Slayers are now in the vicinity. Slayers are fast enough to catch up with Wolfheart, so they can keep him occupied there. And you see the Swordsmen losing out. As they do, the balance power starts to turn more and more. And yeah, the Dwarf Warriors getting routed off here, which is decent. The War Wagon able to do a little bit of work, but again, just really the DPS has not been the greatest here. I mean, this one, I believe, started out with an XP Chevron, but the rest of the War Wagons just really not performing well. They are good in certain situations, but I don't think that they're going to be useful in this matchup. I mean, unless you're melee charging the lower armor units. Like, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to charge the Bugman's Rangers with the War Wagons. I mean, granted, Bugman's Rangers do have charge defense versus large, so charging them from the front is going to do almost nothing. But, I mean, charging them in the rear or in the side, or, charging like regular Rangers as well, I think that they would do pretty decently. But, again, Chariots are good against the Dwarves, but I just don't think that the War Wagons do quite enough damage. They're not quite fast enough, I think, as well. But, yeah, you can see the Deathjacks here providing some really nice fire. They've gotten some excellent work done over the course of the battle. It's definitely been a highlight for me. But the low light here was the Hell on Wheels. I have used it to very good effect in previous games, but this time not so much. Definitely took a beating there and was not able to get too many kills. 50 kills is okay, but a lot of those were like relatively low value, like miners and stuff, so really wasn't the best at the end of the day. And yeah, right now I'm going to friendly fire 2 of my War Wagons there, and that will pretty much be the end. You can see Wolfheart's getting routed off there, chased off by Slayers and everything, so not the best. Still got the Deathcaster hanging around, but the Dwarf Warriors are finally starting to get back and get on these artillery crews here. Some Slayers as well, moving in to smash the Hammer of Witches crew in their pajamas. So yeah, that's going to be a loss for the Empire. Unfortunate, but I do think that I had sort of the right idea here in using all of these different counter-artillery tools in tandem. I think I got let down by the War Wagons at the end of the day, but we'll go ahead and kind of theory craft a list based on what I had brought here to sort of finish things out. But let's go ahead and fast forward. We do finish off the Thane finally with one more shot, like he is properly gone, but not quite enough to bring back the battle. So very well played to Italian. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. Bugman's Rangers, really like them. They did get a little bit more expensive, but with their better AP values now, I think they're going to be an even better unit, a little bit more justified in terms of the cost. The cannon, they did decently. They were able to get some good work done against the war wagons once they switched onto them, but they definitely were countered pretty hard by my build, which was the whole idea. But Dwarf Warriors doing quite well against swordsmen in the front line, trading super cost effectively and everything. From my side, obviously, the counter artillery worked as intended. It's just that then, again, the war wagons kind of let me down there. So if we go ahead and have a look at the Empire roster here, I don't know exactly when all of these videos are coming out in relation to each other, so I don't know if I've done an Empire overview already. Probably I have. But if we look at war wagons here, 950, and I mean the charge bonus and weapon strength just really isn't there to be able to do that much damage to high armor units. It does okay against low armor units, but dwarfs obviously are primarily armored infantry, so I would actually have cut those war wagons and taken just 3 greatswords in their place. These guys obviously with their anti-infantry, armor piercing. Once the dwarves were forced to advance after I had won the artillery advantage, then I could have used the greatswords to just slaughter all those dwarf warriors, right? Like they wouldn't have stood a chance against a line of, even like a line of 3 greatswords, I think would be able to beat 4 dwarf warriors without too much issue, especially with all those swordsmen. I mean, the swordsmen obviously would still be there supporting, so just to kind of give you an idea once again of how I might go about this. The net I cut because you don't need a net against the dwarves. Focus shot and fleet-footed I will hang on to, as well as the amber bow. And then we'll get the Amethyst Wizard here on horseback. Let's make sure he's got Spirit Leech. And I don't know that I would necessarily take any other spells just for cost's sake. We're just going to take Spirit Leech. After he Spirit Leeches the artillery piece, then he can start Spirit Leeching dwarf characters, which isn't great because they have some magic resistance, but it's something. I mean, if you have the extra funds, you can maybe do something like bring Soul Blight to help sunder enemy armor. That will help these swordsmen trade a little bit more effectively, but let's wait and see if we have the extra funds. Definitely want the 3 great cannons, and then the Death Jacks to sneak in the back line. And then let's see, what am I missing here? The Hell on Wheels, I think it's a fun idea. The dwarves aren't going to be able to catch it, but they can shoot it, and they can shoot it very effectively, so I do think it's a little bit risky of a bring here. I mean, obviously, with winning the artillery advantage, you probably would be able to protect this thing, but for the sake of cost, I'm actually going to cut it down, and we're going to do some other things. So there's a few different directions you could go here with this last 2,200 remaining. You could grab another greatsword, and then maybe just like some handgunners or something. If you wanted to cut that extra greatsword, you could come in here and grab some crossbowmen. Again, because they have decent AP values, they're a little bit cheaper than handgunners. They have the same AP, 6 AP per shot as the dwarf crossbows, so they can do reasonably effective there. Maybe you kind of mix and match, you get 2 of each. Or maybe you go with more infantry. Rather than bring the crossbowmen, you bring some free company because they're a nice hybrid. You're maxed out on swordsmen. You can only take 5 of them, so you bring some free company as sort of a analog. They have a missile attack, and they also have decent enough melee stats. And then that also leaves you enough to bring the 2 non-Regiment of Renown handgunners. Maybe something like this would work a little bit better. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. It's definitely, I do think that Marcus helps a lot in this matchup, believe it or not. Just having his bow, shooting at artillery pieces, because he has good enough range to kind of get ranged and do that, it definitely helps. Likewise, the Death Jacks, believe it or not, I think are going to be a pretty good pick here in doing like what I just showed there, like kind of sniping out enemy artillery pieces and stuff. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I do think that with sort of combined strategy, you can win artillery, maybe then win the infantry fight. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.